The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
All right. Welcome back, guys. And it is Wednesday. So I got some new sound effects going on in the studio. So if you guys are tuning in live, hashtag live. If you are watching the replay, hashtag replay. But today I've wanted to get into something that I call habit map. And I get a lot of questions every single week about, how do you implement a new habit when you're having difficulty doing it? And I really wanted to make this show for someone who may feel like they're struggling to implement a new habit in their life, entrepreneur, whoever who wants to start investing in themselves daily. Maybe, they're trying to pick up a new habit and, they feel like time is an issue. Maybe they don't feel like they have enough time to do it. Maybe they feel like, all right, we got Gail live. Hey, what's up, Gail? How are you? But this is for a person who really, wants to maximize their efficiency, maximize their duration of habits. But this concept that I learned was, from a book called Atomic Habits, which was written by a guy named James Clear. But one of the things that I learned from it was, this 2-minute rule. The problem with the 2-minute rule is they never really told you what to do beyond the 2 minutes. And that's really where I want to get into today. So I created this concept where we could teach anyone how to implement a new habit. But not only that, what's up, Rigo? But not only that is, how do I get beyond that 2 minutes? And so the concept of this was, to start any new habit, you should start and be able to do that under 2 minutes. Now, most people would think, well, that's not enough time. And that's like anybody can do that. And that's the whole concept of it. When we start habits, most people make them too difficult. That's why we don't do them. And, I think of working out as most people would say, like, well, listen, 2 minutes isn't really a workout. So therefore, if I don't have, 30, 45 minutes, and it's really not called a workout. And I would actually say, that's false. When you're just starting a habit, number one, we want to make it easy. Number two is we want to have less resistance when we start that habit. And so if there's a high level of resistance, chances are that we're not going to do this. And so we need to make everything easy and simple, because the harder you make change, the less you're going to be consistent with that. So if you're watching this, think about anything in your life that you could do, or maybe you've had trouble implementing. If you guys are watching this, maybe just let me know what's one habit you've had a really hard time implementing, and drop it in the link. And we can probably trace this back to what you've considered is, hey, there's a certain amount of duration that I need to do this for in order to make it count. And that's one of the biggest things that I get. And so people ask me, like, hey, what's an easy way to start implementing a habit? And I always say, well, listen, like, do it for 2 minutes. And as I studied this 2-minute rule, I was fascinated, because I'm like, man, that's so simple. But it wasn't enough just to do the 2 minutes, but it was good for me to start at. And so, you could think of anything, whether it be working out, you could think of, maybe reading, you could think of journaling, you could think of listening to a podcast, you could think of, literally, making dinner, making literally any new habit you wanted to implement. But the goal for your first 5 days was to do this habit. So let's just take working out. Let's just say I started working out and I was having a hard time getting to the gym or getting in the 30 to 45 minutes, hour that everybody thinks that they actually need. So if I was trying to do that, I would just say, well, listen, I'm going to do 2 minutes every day. Now you might be thinking, well, that's really easy. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So we would do 2 minutes of exercise. Maybe it was a 2-minute fast-paced walk, 2 minutes of, push-ups, squats, alternating back and forth, and maybe some planks. And we did that for 2 minutes. Now we would set our timer. We would go 2 minutes. Maybe it was journaling. I'd set my timer on journaling, do a brain dump for 2 minutes, whatever that was. Maybe it was reading, set my timer 2 minutes, and I would go. Now, after 5 consecutive days, now remember, the key in this is that we start to leverage that 2 minutes. We start to leverage, our habits and things like that. So many of the clients that I work with, I'll recommend them to just start with all of their habits, even things like meditation, for 2 minutes. After 5 consecutive days, the goal would be to then double it. Now, if I don't hit 5 consecutive days, then I need to stay at that 2 minutes. And so as we get going, working out would be, say, 2 minutes. Okay. And we're going on fast-paced walk. Maybe I'm doing, squats, and maybe I'm doing, push-ups for 2 minutes back and forth. Say every 10 reps, I switch from push-ups and then I go to squats. Now, after 5 consecutive days, I would double that. And now it would be 4 minutes. And this is where I came up with a concept called habit math. And it was really taking this 2-minute rule and implementing this into, any habit, because I believe any habit can be done under about 30 to 45 minutes. So in a matter of 25 days, you could ultimately be at the habit and the duration of time you want to be at in a matter of 20 to 25 days. Most of your habits would take you about 15 days. But that we also use a concept called habit stack. So if you wanted to do, let's just say, multiple habits, maybe it's 2 minutes of working out, it's 2 minutes of meditation, and it's 2 minutes of journaling. We're going to stack all these habits back to back. Now, whatever habit I was more automatic with and had less resistance with, I would actually stack that as the last thing, because I know I'm going to hit that no matter what. So for me, working out is one of the things that I will do no matter what. So I tend to stack a lot of habits in front of that, because I'll force myself to do those to get to that one habit. And so as we get going on this, my 2-minute rule says that I do this for 2 minutes. I do this one habit for 2 minutes. And then after 5 consecutive days, I now double the time. And so now it turns into 4 minutes. 4 minutes of working out. So it could be the same workout, or I could say, listen, I'm going to add 10 push-ups, 10 squats, and 10 seconds of planks. And then after every one I do, I'm going to go back through it. So I do 10 squats, then I go 10 push-ups, then I go 10 seconds of planks. After that, I start back over at squats, and I keep doing that as many rounds as possible inside of that 4 minutes. And so once that 4 minutes is up, I'm done. And then 5 consecutive days goes by, and all of a sudden I double my time again. So now I'm at 8 minutes. So we're literally 15 days into this, and now I'm at 8 minutes. So you're like, so what? That's not really enough to do anything. And you're right. It's probably not, but it's not about the 8 minutes. It's about the consistency of doing it and basically telling yourself, well, listen, who doesn't have 8 minutes a day to work out? Who doesn't have 2 minutes a day to work out? Who doesn't have 4 minutes a day to work out? But watch what happens when we get around day 20, is by the time we hit our 20th day, we're now at 16 minutes of working out. And we can start implementing new things into our workout. And then once we hit once I hit day 20, I'm going to be at from 8 minutes to 16. Once I've done that, now I'm getting into that next level, which is about 32 minutes. So 25 days it takes for me to get to 32 minutes of working out. As long as I've went those 5 consecutive days, I've learned the habit of being consistent. I've gotten rid of the resistance when it comes to working out. And so here's the other thing. Let's say I get to 32 minutes and I don't really think someone new to working out needs to work out much more than 32 minutes, because I would say this: I'm going to do whatever I would normally maybe take me an hour. I'm going to try to get done in 32 minutes. So my intensity goes up, but that is the main goal that I'm going to work from. And so I would rather have intensity over time and duration than anything else. And that's what I'm always going to shoot for. And so, seeing that 2-minute rule happen where in 25 days, I could go from not working out at all to working out for 32 minutes and having the consistency in doing that. And you might be saying, well, listen, what would I do for 32 minutes? You can go on a walk, you can go on a run, you can do anything that you want for 32 minutes because you've slowly built yourself up to that. But realize that most of your habits are going to take you less than 20 minutes to do. Like, there's not any habits outside of working out that take me any more than 20 minutes to do at a time. Working out is probably the only one. And I will say this: if you're reading for much more than 20 minutes, chances are you're not implementing the things that you're reading. Journaling, I know 10 minutes for me, journaling is a lot of journaling. I know on the other side of that journaling that, meditation, you don't need to do much more than about 15 to 20 minutes. Otherwise it turns into a nap. And then we call it napitation. So most of your habits will be done in a matter of 15 to 20 minutes. You'll have reached your level of capacity inside of those. And so you won't need any more than that. Working out is about the only thing that you could actually do. But this habit math, this 2-minute rule, and habit stacking together is an absolute game changer. When you understand how to do this, you can start implementing any habit into your life in that formula. So we start with 2. After 5 days, we double the time. After another 5 days, we double the time until we hit our max time. Now, if you wanted to go again with your working out from 32 minutes to 64, which I don't really think too many people need to do that much. Like, I rarely work out for much more than about 45 minutes. But if for some reason you wanted to work out more, you could be at 30 days, you could be at that total duration of 64 minutes, which, to me is, I'd rather work out for 45 minutes and get done what most people takes, an hour and 10, hour and 30 minutes, because I'm not sitting there on my phone. I'm not sitting there messing around with that. So, but think about it this way. I know a lot of people I talk to have a hard time with meditation. They have a hard time with journaling. They have a hard time with, even fitness and reaching kind of an optimal level. But this is the simplest way that I have found to begin implementing new habits. You can really apply this to anything that you do. Again, the goal is to have less resistance, to make it simple, to give yourself a choice. Listen, does what I'm about to do today require me to do any more than 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 16 minutes, 32 minutes? Chances are none of your habits are going to take more than anything inside of that, but it's a way for you to begin to implement them into your life and have a major effect. So let's go back through these steps. Number 1, take any new habit and start off by, doing it for 2 minutes. And as you do that for 2 minutes, after 5 consecutive days, then you can double the time. Now, if you don't do it 5 consecutive days, you have to go back to the time before And if it's 2 minutes, then you just start there. After, 5 days, you can double the time. So whether it's 4 minutes goes to 18, whether it's 8 goes to 16, or 16 goes to 32, you can start there. Then from there, if you want to add in, multiple habits, you can always say, okay, listen, I'm going to work out for 2 minutes, meditate for 2 minutes, journal for 2 minutes, and you can stack them, and you can put the habit that you would rarely skip as the last thing you do, and the habit you would most likely skip as the first thing that you would do. And that would really help you start implementing these in a much simpler order. Okay. And so the final piece of this is really, what is the one habit you're going to start implementing into the 2-minute rule? And what is the one habit you typically would skip is the one I would put first? What is the one habit that you would typically most likely do every single day? And that would be the last thing you do. And that just puts leverage on yourself. So go ahead and type that up inside the chat. Go ahead and, message me. Let me know if you guys are watching this live, and I will see you guys on Friday. Let me know if you have any questions on this, and, I'd love to see how we can help you in the future. All right. Peace out. Happy Wednesday.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse